This conference will now be recorded.
Hi Nitish, hi Nazim. Thanks for joining. We will wait for a couple more minutes for others to join, then we will start our session. Hi everyone. Let's start today's session. I've started the recording. People who are all joining late, they can very well see the recorded version. And if there are any queries, they can connect me to the WhatsApp. So today, the day one of our Java training. So very first thing, what we are going to do is, as I mentioned in the demo session, we have categorized this complete training into different blocks. The very first block is core Java learning. So each one of you might be from different background. You may not be knowing what is programming language itself. You might be different from IT standards and all. So what we are going to do is we are going to cover from the basic itself. That is, we will start from what is programming language. That would be the very first thing. People who are already working in the IT field, for them it might be regular, but we are trying to cover all categories of students. So we are starting from the very beginning thing. What is programming language? Why we need a programming language? Basic understanding. So can anyone tell what is programming language? Why we need? Any idea? Am I audible? Can anyone confirm that?
Yes, yes, you are.
Okay, good. So if you ask anyone what is Java, the very first thing what they will tell is it's a programming language. But what is programming language? How it is different from regular language? A big question mark. To answer this question, there is lots of difference between our human language and the machines. Machines will understand only the binary codes, zeros and ones only it will understand, the computers. But as human, we cannot type everything into zeros and ones. For me, if I want to do addition of two number, what I will do? I'll take two numbers, that is number 1 plus number 2 equal to number 3. That is the expectation from my side as a human. But I cannot give this input to the computer. Maybe in the screen you can see, but at the CPU level, at the processor level, it will understand only zeros and ones only. So there should be some language, it should be the intermediate language between the human and the machine, so that both human and machine can understand. For me, it should be in a readable way, normal English, like sequence of characters, words, or sentence it should be, so that I can understand. At the same time, the machine should understand something. For machine, I cannot give some like sequence of characters or words, because only zeros and ones it will understand. That's why this programming languages are coming into picture. What it's trying to do, it is going to execute some statements only. End of the day, all the programs whatever we are doing, it is all sequence of some statements. That is, if I say addition of two number, step number 1 is enter the first number. Step number 2, enter the second number. Step number 3, add the two numbers. Step number 4 is print the result. So these are the four steps we will follow. You can elaborate even 5 step or 6 step, it depend upon the programmer, but ultimately I'll be doing 4 steps. So programs are nothing but sequence of statements that we write and execute, and that one will be done with the help of programming languages. That programming language is an intermediate language between the human language and the machine codes, so that it is commonly available both the sides. It is neutral, I can say. It is not purely a human language, it is not purely a machine language, somewhere intermediate it could be, so that both of them can communicate. I will give some instruction to the machine. So what is the activity of the machine? It has to execute my instructions, so it will complete my instruction. So both the things should be happening, some communication needs to be happening. That is with the help of a programming language. Next thing is, there are so many programming languages are available, starting from C++, everything we call it as programming language, because it helps you to connect with the computer to give some instruction, it is helping. But how Java is unique in the market? For so many years, for so many, I can say more than 2 decades, it is famous in the market. Why? How? For that, we are displaying two important points. There are so many things available. If you open the online material, there are so many options available, but that is common among other platforms also. But Java only, I feel personally, with my own experience, I feel these 2 points made Java unique in the market. Is my screen visible? Can anyone please confirm?
Yes, it is visible.
Thank you. Very first thing is platform independent. What is this platform independent? So you do your development. I'm giving you the same thing. I'm taking the example of calculator itself. So Amazon is giving you one, I'm randomly pulling some names. Okay, say for example, Amazon is giving you some task. You are the employee of Amazon and they're giving a task like write a program to uh, do the arithmetic operations, that is addition, subtraction, multiplication, divisions. You are supposed to do it. You are writing a program. You opened your laptop using some editor, you wrote the code. So in your laptop you have, for example, operating system. I hope you guys know what is operating system. So there are multiple things available. Frequently used ones are your Windows and Linux machines only. In your laptop, say for example, you have the Windows operating system and you have completed your coding and you ran the code also. It worked really good. After developing all this code, you have to hand over your code to Amazon people, so that the Amazon admin team will deploy your code on the server. So once it is deployed on the server, it will be available for the end users. Unfortunately, the server where they are going to deploy your code is not Windows machine. It is not Windows operating system at all. It is Linux operating system, the Linux one. So there are some cases in the previous versions, other things and all, not Java. Okay, there were some complexity, but in Java, there is no such complexity. That is, once you develop in Windows machine, it's not like it will work only with the Windows machine. It will work in any platform. You can develop your code in Windows machine and run it in Linux machine, and the vice versa also. You can develop your code in Linux machine and it will work in the Windows machine. There is no restriction that where you develop the same operating system, your code will work. No, it's not like that. It is platform independent. So it reduced the work. Previously what they used to do is they used to create different packages for different environment. So those limitations, everything, all these challenges, it's all resolved when they were using the Java. So that's why personally most of the enterprise application, a big organizations and all, they prefer Java because of the main important thing is platform independent. Nowadays others are also doing, but in the early stage Java was doing this cross platform, different names they used to tell, cross platform, platform independent, and these things made Java unique in the market. And next important thing is multi-threaded language with automatic memory management. What is this multi-threaded language? If you are talking about a big application, okay, where you will have n number of users. So I took an example of big billion days and all in the demo session. So if you are planning to develop an application where you have to deal with thousands of users at the same time, billion of users at the same time, in that case your application should withstand the load. It shouldn't be the case it will work only one user. If they log in, it will work. If 10 users are coming at the same time, it will break the application. You can see the spinning symbol and all. It is not a good experience. So there should be some management, that is some multi-threaded logic needs to be added. There are two things. One is in the backend you have to do the multi-threading. In the front end you have to do the session management. So we will keep the session management aside now. We are learning about the core Java, so I'll be explaining about that in detail. When we do the UI logic, there we will discuss that one. So coming back to this multi-threading, say you are the user, you are logging in to a online shopping app, any online shopping, Amazon, Flipkart, whichever your favorite one, you're logging in. Do you really think when you click on the submit button, that is login button, after entering your username and password, only authentication is happening? No, they are not going to check only whether you are entering a proper username and proper password. That is the only step we think, but parallelly there are so many steps will happen. Once you log into the particular website, if the authentication is success, immediately what they will do, they will check all your profile information. What did you order recently? What was your recent search? And they try to pull in the similar product and they will show it in your home screen and all. So many activities will done at the background. But for you, what you will think? They are checking only my username and password combination. It is valid, so they made me enter into the site. That's what our assumption. But in the background, there are so many things will happen. So those things, you just think about that. I have 10 activities to happen whenever I click on the login button. For every activity, at least 10 seconds it is taking. So just sum up all those things. 10 seconds for 10 activity equal to 100 seconds. That is almost 2 minutes. You may think that, do you really feel you will wait for 2 minutes after clicking on the submit button? Nobody will do it. Even myself, I feel that I am logging to this side. Why can't I log into the other side who are giving me good user experience? So to avoid all those things, they have come up with the option of multi-threading. That is, when you click on the submit button, if there is a possibility of making 10 different activities, those 10 different activities will be performed parallelly. I don't need to wait for more than 1 minute. With the 10 seconds which is needed for my authentication, immediately I will see the page. After completing each and every activity, one is authentication, remaining 9 activities if they are doing means after completing each and every activity, my page will be refreshed and the related information will be loaded for me. So for that, multi-threading helps me a lot. It is not making the user to hold it until completing all the operations. It is running the record operations alone and it will load the page and the other activities will be done asynchronously. That is in the background it will run and you can see. So that is one of the important feature. You can see it in Java, multi-threading. The next important thing is automatic memory management. This one, I personally feel it is a boon for the developer because I started my career, I started developing from the C itself. I know when I started with C, C++ and all, I have to spend, I in the sense the developer has to spend so much of time on the memory allocation and deallocation. Whenever I'm dealing with any object or something, I have to take care of the memory allocation also for the particular one, whatever I'm assigning, I have to say. So there are some syntax also available in C. Alloc, malloc, deallocation means dealloc. So many things I have to do. Memory allocation is the extra challenge for the developer. And if you are not using an object at all in C++ at all, it is good practice. You have to assign to a null. It means that after some time it will be used for somebody, like some other object is in need of a memory, it will use. That are all different topic. I don't want to dump you those things the day one itself. Why I'm saying these things is you don't have such thing in the Java. You really don't want, like you don't need to worry how these things are all happening. You will just initialize a variable, you will initialize the object and you will proceed with your regular development. What is the business functionality needed? When I click on a submit button, what it should do? That is my ultimate goal and I will be driving towards that. Instead of that, you just think about it for every variable. If you have to think what, how much I have to allocate, how much I have to deallocate. If you think all those things, it is an extra burden for the developer where your efficiency won't be used on the regular functionality. Instead of that, you will spend all your time on the additional activity. So these two things like multi-threaded language with automatic memory management made it unique in the market. That's why most of the organization, you can take directly or indirectly, you can take any big organization, famous things in the market, they are using Java or JavaScript. Java mainly, I can say that for backend thing, they are using Java only. Why they are using? Because of these unique feature. If you ask different thing, you can list so many things. This is doing that, that is doing that, open source, blah blah. So many points they used to say. But though it is a open source, there are some feature which made it unique. Just because of open source, people won't use it. Just think about a big organization. Okay, the branded ones, would they really care about the license cost? No, because their brand name matters a lot. They're ready to give for the license money also. They'll go for the commercial version. They won't really depend upon the open version. What they need a good performance and the support of the particular software. In that case, open source is not the unique feature. People sometimes used to say Java is open source, that's why people are using. Yes, that is partially right, but It cannot make Java to withstand in the market just because it is a open source. So those things, these are the key points we feel it made Java unique in the market. The first thing is platform independent. Second thing is multi-threaded language with automatic memory management. So this platform independent also nowadays it is not only with Linux or Windows. The next step what we people are doing, cloud deployment. You might be using different cloud providers, Amazon cloud provider, you might be using Google cloud provider or the Microsoft Azure one. So when you are doing development related to that, the basic skeleton is going to be same. The API calls to connect to cloud may differ, but the basic skeleton, the basic structure remains same. That's why it is easy for a developer. As a developer, what you will expect, you don't want to spend much of your time there. You feel that I want to do something immediately. That is the ask from your organization, your company also. They won't give you 3 months or 6 months of time to complete. Nowadays, everything is agile mode. Few weeks, 2 weeks, 3 weeks, they talk in a sprint mode only. So in that cases, time matters a lot. That's why we are relying on Java, because most of the things are already automated or readily available, which make our work really easy. Next thing is, I'm skipping the tools installation. I will cover the important topic about the basic components. Then I'll come back to the tools installation. Is there any doubt in the slide number one?
Yeah, we can only see the full stack Java developer course slide.
Oh my goodness. 1 minute. Thank you for the confirmation. I'm sharing the screen again. Just confirm me if you're able to see my screen. Can you see my screen? Is it moving?
Yeah, yeah, it is.
Okay. I'm moving to the next screen also. Just confirm me, is it showing? The tools installation screen, is it showing for you?
Yeah, we
Or
are
is
on
it
a info page.
okay, introduction page. 1 minute. Is it moving now?
Yes, yes, it
Tools.
is.
Okay, good.
Yeah.
I'm showing the introduction again. If you missed to see that, like I was talking about what is programming language, then why Java. So I was discussing about these two important points. That is platform independent and multi-threaded language with automatic memory management. Okay. Thanks for informing me. I thought it's working properly. Sorry about it. So these two things we have discussed. So any doubt in these two topics?
No, ma'am, we are clear.
Okay, thank you. So next thing is, usually we do the tools installation, but I'm keeping this aside because if you want to use any editor is nothing but you can use Notepad also for the code typing. So before going to that, we need JDK to run your editor. So first you should know what is JDK. Then if you install the software, it will be good. So I'm skipping this. I'm jumping on to the topic called components of Java programming language. Again, I'm insisting couple of hours, that is maybe today or mid of tomorrow, sorry, not tomorrow, next session, you may see few slides because these are all basic, right? Once we install the editor, that is tools installation, once it is completed, we will be doing our coding in the tools itself, that the editor itself. I will be writing the code and I will be explaining the logic. Only few slides to understand the basic concept of Java. Who doesn't know Java, I'm showing this slide. Okay, so components of Java. This would be your interview question. So they will ask what are the different components of Java. three things would be there: JDK, JRE, and JVM. These three things are the components of Java. Most of the times, even the developer who works in that field for 3 years or 4 years, they used to get confused between these terms. They have lots of confusion between the JDK, JRE itself, when they need JDK, when they need JRE. First, let's see what is this JVM. The full that abbreviation, this Java Virtual Machine. The expansion of this is Java Virtual Machine. So I already told you, you will write a code in the way like human can understand. Once you write the code, all the codes will be like your file will have a extension of .java. If you are creating a demo file means it will be demo.java. If you are writing an example code means example.java. So all the files wherever you are writing the Java code will have an extension of .java. So this .java file, when it will be ready for your execution means it has to be compiled. So there are different terms we will use. So I will be teaching you each and every technical terms also. So compilation is nothing but you have a human readable code. That code I want you to convert to a machine code. You have to make some modification means from .java file, the extension of .java file, you have to convert it to a .class file, that is demo.class, example.class. Some manipulations you have to do, that we call it as compilation. That is, we will run some command on the code which you already wrote to check whether you wrote properly, whether your syntaxes are all correct, whether you are following the Java rules. If there is some flaw, it will give you compilation error. It won't create you the .class file. That is, if you have demo.java file and you are compiling properly, it will create you something called demo.class file. If you are not compiling properly, it will throw you an error. That's it. You cannot proceed further. So compilation is nothing but you are transferring your file from Java to a class file. So that process, okay, Java compiler we have, right? Once that is done, it is fine. In your laptop itself, you will compile and you will keep it ready. But you have to execute the code. There are two steps we always do. Even in your editor, when I run the code also, I'll show you. First step is you will compile the code. That is, locally you will check each and every line in your code, and it should pass, like the compilation should pass, and it will create a .class file. Once the compilation is passed, that particular code should be executed. As I told you, my ultimate goal is to add two number means I have wrote the code, but it has to do the functionality. That is, it should ask me the numbers. Hey, enter the number 1, enter the number 2. Then after entering the number, it should print me the result. That is 1 plus 2 equal to 3. It should print. So somewhere it has to execute the code and show me the result. That is called execution. First thing is compilation. The second step is execution. But I have wrote some code in a language that is I can understand, but as I told you, machine will understand only zeros and ones. So somebody should be function here as an intermediator who will do the translation kind of things. Usually when you go somewhere to some other country where you don't know the languages, okay, Japanese or Chinese, if you don't know, you have somebody called interpreter who will do the language, like whatever you talk they will convert to Chinese language, whatever the people there talk they will convert that to your own language, English or whichever language you are comfortable with. Somebody has to do that work, right? That is done by JVM, Java Virtual Machine. So what is the functionality of this Java Virtual Machine? It will convert my human readable code to machine code so that my processor, my CPU will understand. It will understand and it will perform the desired task. Whatever it is supposed to do. If addition needs to be done, it should do. If subtraction needs to be done, it should do. But I have to give the instruction to the computer. When computer will understand, if I talk in a language, the computer language, then only computer will understand. So JVM is the one who is doing the conversion, who is doing the communication process. That is, whatever you compile, it will translate that to the machine code, then your computer will understand and it will perform the result. That is called JVM. So let's see the theoretical concept again. As it is an interview related things, I'm showing the theoretical concept also. JVM is an engine that provides a runtime environment to drive the Java code or application. It converts, this is the main point, Java bytecode into machine language. Okay, so it is convert the Java bytecode to a machine language. Again, in which language it will convert? If you are running in a Windows machine, it will convert to a Windows machine understandable language. If the same code, you have developed a code in the Windows machine in your laptop, but you are deploying the code, if you are installing your code in a Linux machine, means what this JVM will do, it will translate that into a Linux machine code so that the Linux machine will understand. So that is what the functionality of JVM. So JVM is the one which will create the environment for the code to run. Next thing is JRE, Java Runtime Environment. Say you would have seen, even in your past, you might be a user of a Java application. That is, somebody has developed an application and they've given only the zip file to you, and that zip file you are downloading to your laptop and you are extracting the zip file and running. And say for example, we'll take some video games. Okay, so somebody has developed a video game and they gave you the zip file, and you unzip the file and you are running it. When you are running the file, it is saying that there are some supported files needed. You have to have a latest version of JRE, that is Java you need. So here what is happening is, you are not developing the software. Somebody has developed the software, but you are using the software. For running the software, you need the Java. In that case, you have to go for JRE. That is, only the environment is needed for the application to run. Your laptop needs to be modified in such a way that it should support the instruction provided by the files in the zip file. Whatever the folder they have created, there are some instruction, right? That instruction should be understandable by your laptop. For that, you need JRE. That is, you need JVM and some library file alone. That is called JRE. You don't need the extraordinary things and all in your machine, in your laptop. Only JRE you can keep and you can run the software. So JRE is a piece of software that is designed to run other software. So this itself a software. What it is doing, it is creating some comfortable place. That is, real time the thing is, it is creating an environment, a friendly environment for the software to run. What is a friendly environment? There are some libraries needed, there are some class files needed. Who is going to provide? JRE will provide. So we need Java runtime environment. Final thing is JDK, Java Development Kit. Who need it? Developers like us need it, because we are going to develop the code. For that, we need some tools. We are going to run it in our laptop itself. For that, we need some library. We are going to execute and see the result also in our same laptop. So I need JVM also. So any developer who is going to do a development, the Java development, they alone need JDK, Java Development Kit. Let's go back to this particular picture. So this picture will easily make you understand. First thing is, when somebody need only the translation kind of thing, they can go for this JVM. If you are planning to run an application which depend on Java, then you need JRE. JRE is nothing but JVM plus some libraries. So this rectangle stands for JRE. Finally, you are the developer, means then you need JDK. What this JDK is doing? JRE plus some tools, because I'm a developer, I need some development tools. So that's what is happening. So let's see the theoretical part also. JDK contains tools required to write the Java program and JRE to execute them. So this is what we are doing. It's a combination of tools and JRE. Again, JRE is nothing but combination of some libraries and JVM. So ultimately you need JVM, JRE for your development. That's what we are going to see. So these things you should be clear enough, because when you develop, I'll be showing the site also. When you develop, you need some IDE. For the IDE, that is editor, okay, development editor. IDE is nothing but the editor. You can write your code in Notepad also, but it won't be that much user friendly in the beginning days, because you are stepping into programming world, and if I ask you to open the Notepad and write, it means it's a challenging task. So we will go with the editor itself. When you want your editor to work properly, you need JDK. But people, what they will do is, they will go to the site of Oracle and they will download JRE, and they will face so much of challenge. So that's why I'm insisting, when you need JDK, when you need JRE. So next topic what we are going to learn is this. They may not be asking you in the interview, but it's good to learn. So what are the different options available when you have to use which version or edition of Java? It's good to learn. So we will see that also. The very first thing is standard edition. The standard edition is nothing but it has a programming language. The APIs and all would be there, all the basic things would be there, and it was used for security and graphical interface. Everything would be available. Simply, I can say whatever you are going to use for your training purpose, it is a standard edition, because in training you are not going to try something differently in the sense as a large scale. That is only one user. You are the only one user who is going to develop the code and run the code. The load would be less, and you would be trying with the limited activities only. And there are some small organization where they will have application which will be used by one or two users, or with less than 10 users. In those cases they can very well go for the standard edition. They don't need to, because this is the free version. Okay, you don't need to spend some money on this. It is a free version. You can very well go to the Oracle site, you can download and you can use it. So for a training purpose also, we are going to use the standard edition only. In short, they will say Java SE. So wherever you see SE, it means standard edition. All small organizations and the training people, demo preparations, everything people use this standard edition only. Next thing is enterprise edition, which is nothing but, as I told you, if thousands of users are going to use, lakhs of users are going to use, in that situation, you need highly available application. That is, the application should not go down at all. 24 bar 7 it should work, and there won't be any compromise on the. Is anyone telling anything? Anyone has any doubt? Anand, can you please go on mute? Anand, do you have any doubt? Thank you.
No, madam, it's clear.
Okay, fine. So if you are planning for a large scale things, then you need an application where it will have high availability. So 24 bar 7 it should be working, and it should be like a reliable, secured. So many expectations are there in the case of large scale application. In that cases, it is good practice to go with the enterprise edition, because they will give extra support to it. They will have additional information for those users. So a large scale application or big organization, they always prefer a enterprise license only, and they will go with that. If you are planning to develop a small thing, a small application, small devices, mobile phones and all, you can very well go for the micro edition. excuse me. So small devices and all, you can go for this ME edition. But if you are looking for a rich internet application, at the same time, if it is a lightweighted one, you can go for the Java FX. But throughout your training, the very first thing only we are going to use, that is Java Standard Edition. This one, it is more than sufficient, I can say, for your development activity. Okay, with no delay, I'm jumping onto the tools installation and we will keep it ready for the subsequent classes. So what we are going to do here is, you can go to your browser, you can go to Google. You need two things. Okay, first thing is, if you have a dedicated machine with you, if you can run your courses, you can install a software, you can do it, well and good, you can very well proceed. But if you don't have it, that is also no problem. We have options. You can go to the Java, you can type Java online compiler. Okay, when you click on the search button, there are so many options available. That is, online compiler itself is available. You can pick any one of them. You will get a page itself where you can write your code. So this is the page where you can write your code, and you can also run the code and see the result on your right hand side. So this is called online compiler. So not only this program is, there are so many providers available, the online compilers are available. You can very well use it. If you don't have a laptop, if you don't have a dedicated machine for your practice, no worries at all. You can use the online compiler. Here you can type your code, you can execute, and you can see this one. Okay, if you have a machine, if you have the luxuries to install a software or to run the code, it is really good, because you can write all the code and keep it with you for the future reference also. You can create a project, a workspace in your IDE, and you can refer whenever you want. That is really good. If you don't have, also no worries, you can use a online compiler for the learning purpose. So this is the online compiler. For example, you have a machine, that is laptop or desktop with you, means you can very well download the softwares whichever I'm showing you now, that you can use it for your day to day lab exercise. So what we are going to do here is, I'm going to download JDK. The very first thing what we need is JDK. I told you already, you are a developer, so you need JDK. So JDK I'm going to download now. So type JDK download. That's it, and click on search button. The very first option would be from the Oracle site itself. They are the one who is providing Java to us. So they are publishing frequently. Okay, whenever the new releases comes in, they will publish new versions of JDK. So you can click on this JDK. Once you click on it, there are different options available, 19, 17, so many options are available. We can pick and choose the options whichever we want. Okay, 19 or 17, you can swap at the top. Okay, once you swap it, again you have to scroll down a little bit. Here you can see the different operating system, the software is available for different operating system users. My machine is Windows machine, so I'm clicking on Windows machine. Then there are different options available here also. I'm going with the installer. Okay, I want a exe, and that exe I'll be clicking on, like usual process, right? Any software, you would have done so many software installation, you will have a exe file. When you click on, double click on it, it will open. You will have a page kind of thing, a prompt. Okay, technical terms, you will get a prompt. In the prompt, it will ask you to click on I agree, the radio button. Once I click on it, then regular process, next buttons, you have to click next until you see a finish button. Once you see a finish button, that's it, the software is installed in your machine. Same thing here also we are going to follow. You will be selecting the options. When you click on it, it will be downloaded in your machine. Okay, it will take some time, so I'm keeping this as it is. So it is the you can download and you can install in your machine. As I told you, click on the I agree, next. Read the privacy statement. Okay, before clicking on I agree, it's good to read the content. If you are okay with that, click on I agree and click on next and finish. Next thing is we are going to install IDE. IDE is nothing but your development environment. As I told you, even Notepad you can use, but it will take some time for you to get into that comfortable zone. So we are starting with an IDE. There are so many IDEs available in the market. Famous IDEs are Eclipse and IntelliJ. These two are the, if you ask any Java developer, they would either say Eclipse or IntelliJ. Anyhow, I'm planning to use STS in the Spring Boot training class. STS would be like Eclipse only, exactly same. Okay, look and feel also same. So I'm keeping Eclipse aside. We will be covering that in the Spring Boot session. Now we are going to learn about IntelliJ. The ultimate goal of this training session is, at the end of the training session, you will learn about four tools also, that IDE also you will learn. One is Eclipse, STS, IntelliJ, and Visual Studio Code. Four IDEs you will learn it. So I'm starting with IntelliJ. You are going to type IntelliJ, download and search button. When you type like this, you can see something called this. Okay, JetBrain, they are the one who is providing this IntelliJ. I'm going to click on it. Once you click on it, there are two options available for my Windows itself. One is Ultimate, another is Community version. So we don't need a Ultimate because we are planning to do a training, a learning purpose only we are going to do, right? We will go with the Community edition only because it is the free one. You can click on the download button. Again, there are options available, whichever you want, exe, zip file. I'm going to choose a exe. Here also I'm going to choose a exe. Then I'm going to download it. Okay, once you download, same thing here also, you have to click on next button. After agreeing with the I agree button, you have to read it. Okay, there will be a link, click on it, read the concern, then click on I agree. Next button you can click, then finally you can click on the finish. So your ID will also be ready. Once it is ready, there will be an icon. It will ask you option also, do you want a shortcut in the desktop? It's good practice, you can have it in the desktop so that you can easily access it. Or you have to go to the path where you have selected. It can be a C drive or D drive, whichever drive you have chosen. That path you can click on and you can open it. So in the interest of time, I'm not showing because it is taking more time to download. I'm not showing that part. It is regular installation only. If you have any doubt, please ping me in the WhatsApp group. I will be happy to explain you. If you stuck somewhere in the installation, we can very well clarify there. So once you install the JDK, again I'm saying first you have to download JDK only. Then only you have to go for the IntelliJ installation. First you have to download and install JDK. Then you download and install IntelliJ. Then your environment is ready. So your IntelliJ will be like this, something like this. Once you click on and open it, it will be like this. Is my screen visible? IntelliJ screen? Can anyone please confirm? Is my screen visible?
It's not
No,
visible.
Can you see now?
no.
No, no.
No, we can't.
1 minute. Is it visible now?
Yeah, it's good now.
Yeah,
Thank
yes, it's visible now.
Thank you. Thanks for the confirmation. So your screen will be like this. You won't even see the left things what and all I can see here. Okay, you won't even see because when you install for the very first time, you will have an empty thing only. Nothing you can see here. Like this, it will be available. So what we are going to do, we are going to start our journey of Java development. So we have to create a new project itself. The steps to create a new project is file, new. The first option is project. So I told you we will be learning this tool, right? So we will see the different options available. This tool is not only for the learning purpose. If you are landing into actual development, if you are joining into some company where they have the code already, there are different process you have to follow. They will say, in my company I'm using IntelliJ, so you have to use IntelliJ only. We are using Eclipse, so you have to use Eclipse. Your teammates are using some editor, means they will ask you to use the same thing only. So when you are going there, you should know what are the different options available in the IDE. So let's navigate to the different options in the IDE. First thing is, instead of going to new, I'm just imagining that I am a developer who joined a company recently, and they gave me the code to me. That is in a zip file. They have shared the code, their application code they have shared me. If that is the case, I have to click on the open button. I will copy the code into my laptop, and I will unzip it, and I will click on the open button. Then I will navigate to the place where I have unzipped that particular code, and I will select the folder and open it. When I can use open, if I have a code already in my desktop. Next thing is, open reason is nothing but if you are already working in this IDE. Yesterday you worked in a file, and that file if you want to open today, you forgot the file which you worked on yesterday work hours, then you can click on the open reason. It will show you the different projects which you worked yesterday. You can pull any one among them and you can open. If you want to, I show you, right? Purposely I created a project and kept it open for you. Spring Boot project is the one I created just to show you some example. So this is the project which is already available, but I want to close the project. I don't want to see in my ID anymore, means I can click on the close project options. Apart from that, these are the settings available. Like if you want to repair something, if the IDE is stuck somewhere, IDE means this is the one. IntelliJ is my IDE. This is the development environment. It is going to do the compilation and also execution. I told two steps, right? First is it has to convert the Java code, .java code into .class file. So that also will be done by IntelliJ itself, and the result also will be shown in IntelliJ itself. So this is my development environment for the training course. So these are the options we do follow. If you are planning to do a development from the scratch, nothing was already developed, they given a fresh task to you. Hey, you joined recently, you complete the task. If they are telling like this, you can very well go for file, new, the first option called project. You can very well select this. Other hand, that is, they have a project already created, but they are not sharing you the zip file. Instead of that, what they are telling that this is the version control information. What is version controls? Let's take 2 minutes of time to deep dive on this. So again, this is not your course content, this version control, but still, if you land into a development, you should know these technical things. That's why I'm taking time to explain this. Version control is nothing but there are 10 people developing a application in a team, means all 10 of you might be working in a different file, or there are some chances all 10 of you might be working in the same file name. Say your application has 15 files, file 1, file 2, file 3. There are different files are available. Unfortunately, you and your colleague are working in the same file, that is file number 5. Both of you are working in the same file. So usual routine is, morning you will take the file and you will write your code. Evening you will submit the file, that is you will hand over your file to your tech lead. That is the process. I'm just telling an example. Usually it is not a handing over your tech lead. We will commit the file, but it's too technical for you at the day one, so I'm using the normal language. You are handing that file to your tech lead. If that is the case, you and your colleague had worked on the same file, you did some modification on file, that file page line number 1 to 10, and your colleague made some change on the same line 1 to 10 means what will happen? If your tech lead doesn't check it properly, there are some cases either your change or your colleague change would have been messed up, because both of you had worked on the same file and same lines also. So override can happen. There are some cases all the logics might be overwritten and it will create a bug problem, whatever we can say. To avoid this, what we are doing is we are coming with the concept of version control. Your code will have some version control. Every file will have some version control. That is, when you log in, you will take a file means that file not only name, it will have a version also. That is version 2, version 3, some versions would be there. If both of you and your colleague are taking version number 2 and you're working, and when you submit the file to the version controller, in this case what is going to happen? You're not going to give it to your tech lead, you're going to submit to the version controller itself. And when you submit, what that version controller will tell, hey, you're wrong, there is a version already available, your colleague has already committed the latest file and you are working on yesterday file only, so I won't accept your change. What you have to do, you have to take your colleague file, the latest file, on top of it you have to add your change. That is the message you will get it. If you get such message, what will happen? It will avoid the bug, your code may not be overwritten by somebody else. That's why people are preferring the version controls. All the organization are following version control only. There is nothing like you will send your code change over email or chat, nothing like that. You have to get the code from the version control, you have to submit the code to the version control. So when you join an organization, they won't give you a zip file and all, very rarely, until you get an access, might be they will give you a zip file. Once you get the access to the version control, they will, you have to configure the version control in your IDE and you have to start using it. So if you have a version control concept in your organization, you have to select this option. For training purpose, I'm not going to use a version control. Version controls are nothing but in online you can very well check it. Git or JIT, different ways people used to pronounce. GIT. Okay, this is one of the famous version control. You can see all the sample codes. If you are looking for any sample codes in the online, it will transfer you to the Git site only. Next thing is tortoise svs. This is again a version control, open source one, you can very well use it. Next is some cvc or cvs is available, and for other programming language they have clear cases and all. So many version controls are available, but the very famous thing is Git or JIT, whichever way if you want to pronounce, you can pronounce, and the tortoise SVS. These two things are widely used in the market. Okay, so I'm not going jumping into the version control. I'm going to create a new project only. So here in the new project, there are so many options available. I'm going to give some name to my project. I'm going to say training. So some name I'm going to give that project. So Dan training. I'm selecting a location. Wherever you want in your laptop, you can select that C colon or D colon, wherever you want, you can select it. And if you want to create a version control, that is something you're starting from the scratch, and if you want to create a folder like this in the Git itself, you can click on it. I'm not going to do that one because I didn't configure Git in my machine. So I'm leaving this as it is, the checkbox I'm not clicking on. Then we have something called language, which language you want. So this particular ID, the IntelliJ supports different language for the development. Our training is mainly on Java, so I'm clicking on Java only. And build a system is nothing but, even in Java, there are different ways you can do a development. Okay, Maven and Cradle are used for the Spring Boot development. So what is Maven? What is Cradle? We will see it in detail in the Spring Boot session. For now, we are going to do a core Java development. So I'm clicking on IntelliJ only. And this JDK is nothing but the one which I recently downloaded. I've shown you right from Oracle side that JDE it will show. If you have different versions, it will show that also. In my machine, I'm having only this version, so it is showing this. And here this checkbox is there, right? If you are new, if you want to write your very first code but you don't know how to write it, means you click on this add sample code and click on create. I'm not touching upon this advanced setting now because it is mainly used in the case of Spring Boot development, so I'm not going to touch anything here. I'm just going to click on the add sample code and click on create. So directly or indirectly what we are going to do here is I'm going to create my very first code in Java. So in today's first class, I want to start with that. So I'm taking couple more minutes. I know we are on time, but still I want 2 more minutes of your time so that we can run our first code here. So this is my very first code, Java code. So as usual, the tradition, whenever you go for any training courses, they will do hello world only. Even the ID is giving me that message, hello world. So I'm writing my very first code, hello world here. I didn't write anything. The ID itself has written something and showed me like hello world code. I'm going to run this and show tomorrow. That is the next, not tomorrow, the next session I'll be explaining each and everything. What is this class? What is this mean? Everything I'll be explaining in detail. For now, I'm going to run this code and I'm going to show you the result. So, what is the use of IDE only we are going to see now. So, to run this, there are different ways available. You can click on this particular green triangle, or there on top of this you have run option. You can click on this run, or this main, you can right click and you can run. There are so many options available to run this code. I'm going to use the easy one, that is in my screen itself I can see a execution one, so I'm clicking on it. Once you run it, I believe you can see my screen. Right side bottom, you can see something is happening, something called build is showing. For the very first time it will take some time because it will download some relevant things and all. Once it is downloaded, it is printing the output called hello world. So what it's doing, my file name is main.java, it is converted to main.class and it is printing in my screen also. So compilation and execution, both the things has happened now. So how it is happening, what are the commands it will use and all, I'll show it in the next class. So today's hands-on thing is try to install the software. First thing is your JDK, second thing is your IntelliJ, and you follow the steps. The recording will be shared with you. You just follow the steps. What are all the checkbox I have selected, what and all I have typed it. You try the same thing, copy the same thing, and write your very first Java code. This we didn't write it actually. The JDK itself has shown something. If you want, we can do some changes here. Hello, students, some modification. This is a statement, right? You can run and see. I can see it was showing something called allow wall and it will see. So today's task is please install the software. If you can't install the software, you open the online compiler itself. So I've shown you, right? You go to Google and type online compiler, Java online compiler, and there also you can type this code, execute and show me. So take a snapshot of this and paste it in the WhatsApp group so that it acknowledgement that you guys are doing the hands-on regularly. Is there any doubt so far? Any doubt in today's session? Okay. If we don't have any doubt, we are ending our session